views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to RAP Paranormal and Friends with your hosts,
Kim Purvis
and Alison Robinson. Make sure to check us out on our Facebook pages, RAP Paranormal and Friends and RAP Paranormal Busters, for up-to-date show information and events. Hey everyone, welcome to another night of RAP Paranormal and Friends. We have a returning guest tonight. It's been a couple of years since she's been on, so we've got some catching up to do. She's got a couple new things out that we're going to talk about too. So please welcome Alura back to the show. Last time we didn't really talk about it, but she's also a voiceover artist and is known as the Ruby Red Voice. And she has a book out called Will You See Dead People? So thank you for returning to the show.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me. I'm so completely excited.
Yes, absolutely. The last time it was a blast talking to you, and now this time you have this book called Will You See Dead People? But before we jump into that, last time you were on, we talked about Vedic astrology. So could you kind of do like a little recap for some of our listeners who may not be aware of what this type of astrology is?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure they're not, and that's just fine. The book, it goes into it kind of a step-by-step thing, and it is, I'm not going to lie, it is a very complicated system. It's not Western, but the one difference I can tell you is that it's sidereal, which means that it goes by where the planets were when you were born, where they actually were. Meaning if NASA were to tell you that you're rising Aries, Western would tell you that it was Taurus. It's a 23-degree difference, but it's where you actually are. And that's what intrigued me about it. I'm actually, a researcher. So, yeah, I do charts, but, and mostly with paranormal, because in the last 5 years, I've discovered, that there are, well, I didn't discover it, there are yogas, meaning conjunctions, and aspects that will tell you not only if a person is going to have a paranormal experience, but why they're having it. And then I thought, okay, well, there's that thing with paranormal teams that they seem to try to, use the tried and true stuff that they all normally go through to solve the problem. But a more underlying problem, because each of the people that they're dealing with, including the investigators themselves, have karma with every. That's what the system is predicated. It's Indian astrology, this particular system. So it's predicated on, karma, not the crime and punishment type that everybody believes.
Yes.
It's in reaction, and the wild thing that I love about it is that it seems like your chart or your karmas kind of go on after you're not here anymore.
Oh.
And we don't really believe in, there's like an in-between point, and then you come back in when the karmas that you have to deal with are correct for that, and the people that are supposed to be around you, etc. It's a very, very intricate system.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that from the chart, the sixth house, the past. Even if you don't buy into the past life thing, mm-hmm. I'm still on the fence with that,
mm-hmm.
but I can see very, very clearly when I look at charts of certain people
mm-hmm.
that they have karma likely mm-hmm. with even the entity or the spirit that they're going to some stranger's house, at least they think they're a stranger,
mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And they are dealing with that entity and those people. There are no coincidences. I see that by comparison of the charts with a paranormal team. Mm-hmm. I've done some control, and the house that they're going to, and the spirits that they're dealing with, that they're all tied together. Mm-hmm. They're not strangers to you. You think they are, but mm-hmm. they're not. Mm-hmm. So they are resonating, I guess, vibrationally, everybody together, and there's something for you to work out there. So your whole business is you working out stuff in your chart. It will even say when, possibly where, if you do the topography, where you would be. It's a whole thing.
Oh, wow.
But when I did, it is. It's you just working out your chart. It was going to happen. It was always going to happen, and that's the end of it. Mm-hmm. So, when I work with people in the book, it just gives you like a workbook with a printed out sheet that makes it like really, really, because it's just an ebook, mm-hmm. so that you can print them out, fill out everything, and then you can actually do it yourself. The simpler part, what are the planets that are affecting, mm-hmm. So going back to the Vedic astrology sort of difference mm-hmm. is something called dasha periods, which means from the day that you're born to the day that you exit, mm-hmm. You have planets that are running 5 years of your life, 7 years of your life, 18 years of your life, and subdashas, which means it'll join up that Mahadasha, that big planet. Like, let's say I'm in Rahu. Rahu is the north node of the moon. North and south nodes, mm-hmm. which in West are called Rahu and Ketu in Vedic astrology because they're characters. Mm-hmm. Won't go into that. Using Rahu is where you're going, Ketu is where you've been. Very simple. Okay? Mm-hmm. So basically, we look at the nodes, and then we look at the planets that are affecting them. Okay? Mm-hmm. And Rahu is very important because he's the illusion in your chart. He's smoke and mirrors, and he's ghost, and he's demons, and he's all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So exactly where that lies. And it's the wildest thing, because if you take the paranormal team that you have first, okay, mm-hmm. and you look at the charts, you can actually see who's going to feel it, who's going to sense it, and who's likely to hear it. Because if you notice, any group of people in sort of a haunted location may not experience things the same way. One will say, "Can you hear that?" And they'll be like, "No, but I was just touched." Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you choose your team according to the chart, you have a absolute crackerjack team, because you'll know where to put them, and you'll know where their strengths lie. Oh, okay. And their weaknesses. Okay?
Interesting.
And then when we get to your chart,
yes.
Okay. Uh-huh. Yours was brilliant because it gave all the cool stuff of what can be done, and it also gave a couple of warnings, which I'll get into then. Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Yay. How did you get into all of this? Like,
well, I mean, I've been, kind of woo-woo since I was like 13, mm-hmm. and I was always surrounded with people like that. Mm-hmm. So seeing these things really, really early. And then about 10 or so years ago, I picked up Vedic astrology. I can't even remember how it happened, but my chart will tell you because it was going to happen.
Right.
That's the thing. So that's how it happens, you know. And I have Neptune in my 8th house. I'm very just very that way, very scorpionic sort of influences. And the Rahu that we're talking about is in Pisces in my 12th. So that gives you a whole weird spectrum of things that you're like, okay, I guess this is the world that I operate in now. I don't have much of a choice, and that's it, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
So is this kind of like, I had a guest on recently, and she was kind of, I mean, not exactly like this, but she was talking about an astrology that does with the lunar nodes as well. Is there a different type that uses them, or is it kind of based along? Because she did like the magical nodes of the moon is what she called like her book, but she talked about the lunar nodes and how those go into your chart and how they differ. Is that are they kind of the same thing, or?
Yeah, because every system has to use the nodes. You're not even alive unless you have the nodes. That's why you live. There's no way to even to take a breath without them. So every single system has to have the nodes. Okay. So we use the basic constructs of Vedic astrology are the nodes, the planets, the nakshatras. The nakshatras are the constellations. They're 27 lunar mansions, and you have to look to see where the planets are in them and which actual section of each one of those. That's why we always say the difference between this system and pop culture. Pop culture, basically, you know, you read Aries in the newspaper and it's supposed to fit everybody, and it doesn't. Even when you move from Western to Vedic, some people start freaking out because they're very attached to their sun sign. And the sun sign, I won't say it's meaningless, but it's not. The rising sign and the moon signs are more meaningful because, first of all, the moon, we usually check things from the moon more than anything else. Your mind, it's going to tell you how you're going to react to everything in life. Your sun's kind of there, right?
Right.
So, yeah, then we check the nakshatra, which is the constellation it falls in, and then there's like 4 to 7 different pieces within that, which means that I'm an Aries rising and I have an Ashwini moon. It's in my ascendant, but another Aries may have theirs in Kritika. 2 totally different people. My mind is a monkey mind that runs constantly. Their mouth is a monkey mouth that runs constantly. I must be a little one I say, but Kritika, which are the 2 swords or something that's cutting, is going to be a sharper tongued Aries. So, and a of other things. So depending, I mean, the degree to which you were born is probably the most important thing, because even with twins, there's going to be a major difference. And you have, in Vedic astrology, 60 charts to your name rather than just one and then a couple of what they call harmonics, I guess. Yeah. Everything is carved up into everything from career to your marriage to tragedies to fortunes to whatever. They were real kind of anal retentive about having a chart for absolutely each one of those things. So when I check for paranormal stuff, there's about 5 that I have to go in and actually, it takes me like 4 or 5 days usually to see exactly. But with the book, they don't have to do that. All they're doing is picking their team, and then if they have somebody's home where there isn't enough sage for that, there isn't anything, it's nothing, you know, sometimes you have to walk out of people's houses saying, we've done all we can do. Right. Now a decision has to be made. Either you move, if it follows you, call us, whatever. No, now you can kind of say, this is what your chart says. This is what the karma is. If you can clear that, the entity will go away. That's the good. The kind of not so good news is if you're running a 10-year dasha or a 16-year dasha or a 5-year, depending on what the karma is, it could stay around for that long. And that is the reason why it follows people from place to place, because your karma is your karma. It's going to be there so long as you're taking breaths, not from address to address. Okay? Now, for the people who it does clear up like that, we go by the numerology of their name, etc., and also of the home. Sometimes that helps. And sometimes it's simply a... So the thing we like to understand is that the dasha period promises what's going to happen. The transit turns it on. It's the light switch. Which is why sometimes you hear these cases where everything's done, it disappears, boom, 3 years later, this poor SOB is running a subdasha of something, and it flipping comes back. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
So there's just about karma with this, and it's a big pain, but I think that you can help a lot more people if you know the chart, and you can just go boom, 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 okay, this is what I feel like is going on. And then there's all sorts of sort of other remedies and things like that. Because once you've actually opened that gate with that part of astrology, you are connected with the deities that are running those nakshatras and things like that. You have a lot more help. You have sort of a big team once you're connected with them to do that with, and I've seen it work on a number of occasions. That's why I disappeared for so long, because it's like I have to really put this to a test. I need control and it took a long time.
I bet.
Yeah, but it does work. It works in most cases, and so I wanted to kind of bring this out to people that are in this sort of business, so that they don't always have to walk away without an answer, because it happens a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure it does. Now, do you have any do you have any plans to write any more books or anything like that, or?
I think so. I think as I get teams to go out and do it on their own, kind of report back to me what they are. They're sort of like the field people.
Right.
If I can to report back to me, hey, there's this family, like I don't charge to do it. If somebody calls me and says, I have this family, this is their birth information, can you take a deeper look at this? I will, and then I'll start cataloging it, and probably sometime in 2025, I'll do an update. And that's the reason why I made it a downloadable PDF, because I can go in and I can add to it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. I tell you what, I've had so many people that have done charts for me, and I don't understand a damn thing about them. Like, when I look at it, it is just like an overload for me. How do you sit down and look at one of those and piece it all together? Like, what is your process on that? Because, like, I'm just looking at a bunch of stuff on there, and I'm like, I don't understand a damn thing.
Well, yeah, because you have to be an astrologer. So, because, not with the blow by blow that I give in the book. It's really very simple for that particular thing. But to really realistically look at charts and look at as many charts as there is in the Vedic system. I've had 5 different teachers and over a decade. So that's how I do it, because if I've seen a couple of thousand charts,
right,
some of them pass, some of them I'm still working on, yada yada, then yeah, it takes a lot of time in that system. It's not like Western where, there's your natal chart and then there's a couple of harmonics and bam, you're done. This, because you have to understand the Vedas are basically the Hindu Bible, and it's one of the limbs thereof. So it's like being in a religious study, because a lot of they do bring the religion into it. You don't have to have that.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather learn it from the culture, from their perspective that actually, put this together,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 5,000 system, and it doesn't just go by seasons. It goes by space,
Right.
which is what astrology,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It can work. Even a tropical Vedic system where they use the tropical zodiac with the nakshatras, it makes it a lot more complicated, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a way to integrate them. I just say if you're going to be a Western astrologer, take a few classes for Vedic as well and see what you think. Because for me, if I were a Western astrologer and I knew Vedic, I wouldn't even say anything to the client. You don't have to. You just pop their stuff into the software
Mm-hmm.
and bring their stuff up, and it'll just give you
Hello?
So yeah.
No?
So I,
Are you there?
yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Now I
Now
can.
okay.
Yeah, we lost you there for a second, so I didn't hear that last little blip. It just kind of cut out there for a second.
Ah, okay. So I mean, if you have any more questions, and then after I can go ahead and explain to you the chart.
Excuse me, sorry. Oh my goodness. I had
Hands up, hands up.
tickle in my throat. Oh my goodness, okay. Oh. Oh man. I hate that when that happens.
We're casual. No problem.
That's okay. Before we get into my turn things, another thing I kind of wanted to touch base is that you said you're a voiceover artist. When did you start that?
Oh, well, yes. Okay. So let's do that one. Great. When I when I met you, dear,
Yes.
if remember I was doing, I think, Galactic Groove After Dark. I was trying to get some YouTube things started. I was a
Yes.
copywriter, okay?
Yeah.
So nice big job in copywriting, kind of dumped all this and everything else just to sort of focus on that. I was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the company I was working for decides that they're going to go to AI.
Oh my gosh.
It cut us that quick. It was done in an hour.
Oh wow.
If you ever watch on YouTube now, all those layoff videos that go viral because people were taping their bosses lay them off and stuff
I haven't.
on Skype.
Oh my gosh, I have not seen that. Oh boy.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was like that. Because nobody said anything, whatever. And then, everybody has a meeting and da-da-da-da. We were remote,
Yeah.
And it was a huge company called Waveform. And I was like, yeah, I'm writing blurbs. That's all I'm doing. And it's a good money a month and everything. And thank God I invested because they just chopped it right there.
Oh wow.
And at the same time, and this is in the chart, I'm going to tell you, Jupiter did it.
Mhm.
Yeah, there, when they talk about, Jupiter is la la and happy and expansive and jovial and all of that, he's the most, he'll also screw you. But not for a non-good reason. It was what they say is when Jupiter takes something away, it doesn't come back because there's something else that's supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do it, they'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Then small animals, that's what he represents as well in the sixth house. Yeah, I was an estate manager for like 20 years and I was doing the copywriting on the side. And I lived with my boss and the animals and we were great, right? He decided to meet somebody and then he knew them like 5 months and comes home and said, this is all changing. I'm getting married.
Oh my Lord. Whoa. Holy smokes. What the heck?
That was all in the same month. It was fabulous.
Oh my.
So, yeah, quick change, real quick. So
Yeah.
now I'm back in Central Florida. I'm not in Miami anymore. I'm living with my mother, and
Uh-huh.
we'll glaze over that one. And, I'm going to be 56 next month. I'm like, yeah, this isn't funny. So it is what it is, and
Yep.
that's what it is. So
That's
the
right.
voiceover part,
Uh-huh.
the voiceover thing, it's another thing. Like I can't remember exactly how I got started with the copywriting, but I also
Mm-hmm.
can't remember how that came up either.
Wow.
Something happened. I did something, and then
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden, oh, I think I'll open a channel for that's what it was, because I watch a channel called Mr. Ballin,
Uh-huh.
Doug Corrado, and Bailey Sarian, and they're all like, some of them are true crime, some of them are paranormal storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, they get a lot of views, and this looks like fun, and I could put my writing to work and all of that, and that's, I think, kind of how it happened
Oh, very
when
cool.
I Ruby Red Voice. It's new. I've got like 9 subscribers. So, but I write my own stuff.
Uh-huh.
I write stories myself
Very
and produce it myself and all of that myself.
Wow.
So yeah, it's fun. So when I go out and I do delivery like for 4 hours a day, so I have
Mm-hmm.
something coming, I
Right.
turn around, I just sit there and I focus and do it. And that's how I became Ruby Red Voice.
Wow.
Red is my favorite color, and I said, okay, and I have a voice like this,
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
down an octave, and that's natural for me, unless I'm on something like Skype and it sounds like I'm yelling because I feel like I have to yell. I don't know on these things, but yeah. So I said, okay, I'll use that. Now it's time for me to go from fingers to voice.
Right. Yeah. Hey, well, that's pretty cool though, because yeah, I saw you pop up with that, and I'm like, when did she change to this? Like, did I miss something? Like, because I saw you pop up and it was a different, name and stuff. I'm like, but I know her. Like, what?
Yeah, I never forgot you guys. Occasionally I would go on and like, listen to some stuff and everything. And I'm like, now that I'm back on Instagram, because I didn't know where else. I hate Facebook to death.
Oh yeah, I don't do Facebook. No.
Yeah, no. It was so, like, I kept getting hacked and everything. So I just did Insta, and I said, okay, this is what I need to do, and that's it. I'm hoping that it's a driver to my channel. I didn't even know what I'm doing, but it seems to be okay.
Very cool. Very cool. Yes, all of our listeners, go check out her channel, Ruby Red Voice, YouTube.
Just Red Voice. That's it on
Yep.
YouTube.
Get it on YouTube. All right. So let's dive into. I gave you my information here
Yes.
for your chart. So let's hear it.
So in the Vedic system, it gives you Virgo is rising on the day of your birth. So you're a Virgo rising. Okay.
Okay.
Your Rahu is not in the 8th house, but it is still in Scorpio for you.
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio is like a major thing, especially for a node to be in when you're going to be in what you're in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the second chart that you look at, we kind of call it the adult chart, even though it's like when it activates after age, but it's with you your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called the Navamsha chart. And Navamsha just means that it is a portion of your natal chart, which is where the 60 charts come from. Won't even bother to touch that. You don't even need to know. But there's 2 main charts you have to look at first. And the Navamsha also, handles marriage and all this other stuff. But the ascendant will change.
Mm-hmm.
And the planetary positions will change simply because the natal chart is what your reflection. It's like what Western astrology says, oh, your chart is a reflection. Yeah, your natal chart is. But your Navamsha chart is the fact. So basically, whatever planets you have in your natal chart will change mostly in your Navamsha chart. They mature, maybe they get more empowered, or maybe they take a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
For example, I use my chart as an example to explain because it's an Aries rising, my moon is in my ascendant, and it goes around like a clock. Aries, Gemini, yada, 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 all the way to Pisces. So I go from Aries to Leo, which means born in Aries, and I end up a Leo type of personality and type of thing going on, okay? Rahu's in the 12th, and of course in Pisces, that just means that I have the spirituality, but how I'm going to actually get to people, he goes Gemini in the Navamsha chart, which means media.
Oh,
there you go.
There you go, yeah.
Correct. Okay? So in your case, you also have the same. He will go from fire to air. Now, what that also means is
Great.
you have Rahu. There's a possibility either when you're running Rahu Dasha, which I think you already did that, okay? Right now, Jupiter is your man for quite a long time and is giving you sort of some form of protection, but you can be touched. Okay, and you can be touched hard. So, when it goes into air, and you can activate that better, which I'm going to send you a report how to do that, because personal things I'm not saying on the air.
Sure.
It's very PG for on the air, but the air means that you can move that to hearing rather than being smacked around.
Okay.
Because you definitely have a chance. Here's the thing. For you, because of the heavy Scorpio-like karma, and the fact that your birth date, I believe, gives you a 4, and there's a 1 singular 4 and 1 singular 8 in your entire birth date, which means very heavy pending karma. So you must have gone through quite a lot, and hopefully after age, I think it's 46, it starts to taper off. We hope.
I hope.
It just means with crap, basically, that you had to rummage through. So that's the way it is, and that's the way it is. But the warning part of, I'm sorry. And in the Navamsha chart, you turn into a Pisces rising. That's how you're expressing now, okay? So any Pisces rising at all, for the most part, and especially with a Rahu in Scorpio, you are wide, wide open. But you're like a beacon that these thingies can see from space. So here's the warning here is, never in your life to go. Oh, first of all, okay, let's go back to Jupiter for a second. I'm going to make this a suspense, okay? We'll go back to Jupiter is in Jyeshta Nakshatra, okay? Jyeshta is where there is jealousy, evil eye, black magic, things like that. The real dark crap, okay? Retrograde, but that doesn't mean that he can't expand that stuff sometime. When his dasha, so that means because the next few years you're in Jupiter. Jupiter's running your life. So this is good. The fact that it's in Jyeshta and you just turned on that dasha period by running it. Okay, a transit has turned it on, and therefore you're talking to me. There's no. There just is. Okay. So and you're only going to run Jupiter Mahadasha once in your life, so no coincidences. So here's the thing. Because those things look at you, they like you, they want you. Okay. Rahu was actually in Scorpio as a house rather than a sign, you could be open to things like possessions. You're not so much, but I will tell you, stay the hell away from demonology. Don't go near it. Don't read about it. Don't look at it. Don't do nothing with it through your entire Jupiter dasha.
Okay.
Because you can get smacked, you can get pushed, you can, but mostly, if you find that you're having any type of deep emotional change through your emotions, that's what's going to tell you you have a problem here. So that means that connecting with higher power in the next few years, regardless of what you believe in, start believing something. Because then you as long as you have the belief that you have the protection, you should be all right, unless you go looking for it. So the next few years is just no time for, you never know what anybody's into. People in Jeshta could decide they want to light a candle under somebody's butt. You know what I mean? But don't do anything like that. Okay? Don't have else do it, and don't hang out with people who, because see, you're in media, so people are watching you, and attract, even if you don't hear about it or think like, who the hell's going to be jealous of me? People online, I'm sorry to say, not the people listening right now. We love our fans. No, but it's just the aura. It's just, I don't like her, or she's more popular than me, or whatever trash they come up with. It's like the lie thing. So you attract it. It just is what it is. It's a karmically laden thing. So if you have a team of people and they're going into a heavily demonic sort of situation, stay out of it. Stay out of it, because it can make you really ill, and you just don't really want that. You don't want it taking down your health and things like that, just because Rahu's in there and he's decided that he thinks it's awesome for you to, experience it. It's okay. Let Jupiter do its work and tame him a little bit. If you walk in, it's like you're opening the window like you let a vampire, and you have to invite them,
Right.
So that is definitely just not for you.
Kim's over here like, she's kind of hitting it right on the
head.
That's right. I
see, and that's the difference in the systems. I mean, the Western system can definitely tell you, hey, you got these placements, your moon is here, you can do mediumship or something like that, but the nakshatras will tell you what thingies are out there that you kind of deal with, and that's kind of important because you kind of have to know that.
Right.
And protect yourself, or in order to go into a specific and you'll be the type of person that stuff would follow you home and things like that. Just make sure that you're not. With that Pisces rising in the Navamsha, you can't escape that. You just have to ground yourself a lot, like once a day, especially during Jupiter period. You should, for the next few years, you should find ways to ground yourself and make sure I don't care, whatever the hell you believe in, hematite, tourmaline, whatever it is, sleep with a boulder of it, whatever.
Kim's shaking her head like, yeah, she needs a boulder.
To make sure that's, but also with you, because of the 4 and the 8 in your year of birth and everything, you've got a lot of, if you buy into the past life or past existence, or even timelines, whatever it is, you've got people and things that you've dealt with before that are still kind of laying around you. They'll move when they want to move, but it's a karmic thing. So the best thing, to tell people to do is, if you look at it like a karmic lesson, whenever you're experiencing something, try to question yourself, why am I experiencing this? What sort of social lessons or emotional lessons or spiritual lessons do you think you're learning from what's going on? And that's how you start to clear it. because those lessons are being learned. Most paranormal teens are not going to walk around and go, I wonder why, I wonder what lesson I'm learning. It's like, no, hey, I've got a spirit here. I got to get them crossed over or whatever it is, but they're there for a reason. So you kind of start to figure that out, the quicker stuff starts to loosen up and the karma starts to clear, and they can be released as well because they don't need to be there then. They don't even know why they are. They don't know. They don't know about any of this.
Right.
You're interacting with them like another person. They just don't have a body.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But comments, concerns?
I'm just thinking because you're like telling me not to do these things, and I'm like, well,
What I've been telling you.
we just, tend to go into places and things just kind of, take a hold of me, I'm still trying to learn how to keep myself grounded because sometimes I forget. And I bring my crystals with me that I've been given from friends and things like that. But I still, when you were saying those things, I'm like, well, that's hitting it right on the head there because I've had those things happen and, yeah. So now I know that I need to try to avoid those things for the next few years.
And one of the remedies for that is I see some things behind you there, and try not to not in the house, girl. Not in the house.
Oh, those are family dolls. They're not haunted or anything. They were just my great grandmother's. But yeah, I do have
any odd.
What was that?
Do what the Warrens did. Make a museum or something and lock shit, stuff away that you.
Right.
From other places because it's just a dragon. It's going to get you one of the. But for Jupiter Mahadasha, that's a really powerful Mahadasha, and it's very. Like I said, it can expand things when it wants to, and it can retract things when it wants to. It can give protection, or it can give expansion in the wrong place. So if there's an uptick in anything, try to find out from where and curtail it. Things like Ouija boards or something, no. If you have one in the house, get rid of it. Anything that could, the lower vibrational things. You got to start towards the lighter end of stuff. The lighter end of stuff for you. Otherwise, it's fixing to get really heavy because, like I said, you have heavy pending karma. And nobody knows what that pending karma is, really.
Yeah.
And you're still young enough that you don't know what's coming, so you don't want to dirty up the lines.
Right.
To make it worse. Not saying don't ghost hunt. I'm not saying don't.
Oh, yeah.
You also kind of need to sort of, take some time off of it once in a while and really go clean yourself. Don't read anything, watch anything, do anything. Keep yourself clean for a while and then kind of go back to it. Because if you're in that world 24/7, you're really, during that Mahadasha, you're really kind of asking for it a little bit. And Rahu he's the demon of the chart, and he's there to teach you the most about. So he will make delusions and illusions and make you, it's like the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, where, no, this is no big deal. You can just do this, and then something happens.
Right, yeah. Oh my goodness. See, that's, I guess, that's why the things happen. I mean, we went to one location recently, and we had so many things flying off of bookshelves, dolls dropping on people's heads. I've never had that much activity in a location, but I didn't feel threatened there or anything, but it tends to happen when
you're around.
When I'm around, dolls go flying. I don't know, but maybe that explains it.
Oh, look, hopefully I have not bored the audience with all this, like, what the hell is she talking about kind of stuff.
Oh, no. Everybody thinks it's interesting. They love it when we have astrology and things on here. So, but yeah, before we wrap
Uh-huh.
before we start to wrap things up, though, like if anybody has any questions or anything like that, do you have a website or do you just have your Instagram? I know you have your YouTube page they can check out.
And all of the links are lined up neatly in Instagram right in my bio. Where it says book, that's the book. Where it says alurasaura.com, that's my website. And anybody, if they want to get a hold of me on Instagram, they can do that and just say, hey, at least tell me that, you watched the episode or whatnot and I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I'll be able to answer in the DMs. That's not a problem.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Alura, for being on again. It was always a pleasure talking to you, and you always give me some interesting information about my chart. My chart, everybody gives it to me, and it's like just freaking bonkers. I don't know. I've got so much stuff going on in my chart, but it is what it is.
Just so that you know, when you said stuff started to happen, you started your Jupiter Mahajasha in July the 5th, 2024. You started Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn.
Okay.
And it's going to continue to, it says, I guess, April 4th, 2025. Okay, it's not going to run you into the ground that.
So we have an investigation that weekend at the place where the stuff was going flying.
Yeah, but we got all winter long for you to.
I have all winter to recuperate. We don't have anything planned.
You have investigation in April?
Yes. April 4th.
April 4th. Check this out.
Yeah.
Jupiter, K2, and Rahu with Jupiter. That should be crazy. You know what? Go ahead and do it. And just be careful and document everything. Because Jupiter, K2, Rahu, you can't be asking for it more than that.
Oh.
I got to tell you. You can't be asking for it more than that.
Okay.
So I'm very interested. Nothing's going to kill you. I could see long. Don't worry about that.
Right.
I just want to, believe me, I'd go off camera and tell you expressly. Uh-huh. But, you know what? You document that and send it to me, and I'll use it as a control test.
Oh, yeah.
I will.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll put you guys' information in the update so people can get in touch with you, too, for what you do.
Right.
But that would be... And where are you going to do this?
It's actually at the 1858 Garnet House Hotel in Kansas, Garnet, Kansas. So that's the place we visited earlier. When did we go there? In August? When did we go there? We were just there this year.
Well, if you can actually get the date that place was founded for me, the year, the date, or whatever, and then of course, Garnet, Kansas. Okay, I have that. I can actually run a chart on the actual space itself, and I can overlay it over your chart and see what the deal is.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it was constructed in 1858 by D.W. Houston.
Okay.
And then it commenced operations in the fall of the same year.
Do me a favor when we get off here. Just go ahead and text me that.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm going to do
Okay. All right.
For giggles.
See what happens. Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, thank you, Alura, for joining us. And thank you to everybody for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, peace out, everybody. And make sure you check out Alura on Instagram and YouTube. I'll put her information on our social media as well. Thank you, everybody.